hi, I didn't saw you there. You may have seen it and confused it with a guitar. It happens many times. Or you may never heard it. Hi, I'm Angel. And of course, I'm talking about the best instrument ever. The bass. And you may be asking, Angel, why the bass is the best instrument ever? And why I never heard it? Literally. Well, fellow viewer, I'm gonna answer that question later. But first, let's start with the best and most representative bassist in history. Starting with Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. John Deacon from Queen. John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. Cliff Burton from Metallica. Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. And of course, the legend himself, Sir Paul McCartney. All of them, and many other incredible artists, have made the bass such an iconic instrument with their amazing riff, their great group, to keep the song alive with all the rhythm that they gave us. And talking about the rhythm, the bass, accompanied with the drums, are the ones who keep all the rhythm of the song. In that way, the bass is so important that many, if not all the genres in the music, need to have the bass. But not in the same shape. The bass can come in many different shapes, colors and flavors. Starting with the basics, I know, bad joke. There are all of the most common genres in music like rock, pop, metal, hip hop, country, soul, blues, jazz, my personal favorite funk, and many other genres that use the electric bass as their instrument. But that's not the only bass. If you're going to an acoustic presentation, you can use the acoustic bass. But also, before the electric bass was created, they used to use a double bass or contrabass, which was used in the early 50s rocks, in the classical music, in jazz, and in other less known genres like in the estudiantinas. As you can see, there's a lot of many bass instruments, but those are not the only basses. Oh no, there's a lot more. Literally, every instrument has its own bass version. Starting with the mariachis that they have the guitarrón, the orchestras that have the bass saxophone, the octave bass, which is a bigger version of the double bass, like if it wasn't big enough, the bass flute, the subcontrabass flute that is a bigger version of the last one, the ukulele bass, the tuba, the contrabass tuba, and the synth bass, which is used in electronic and pop music. Yes, and there are even more versions of it, like the viola da gamba, which was introduced in the 1500s and is the first bass of the history. As you can see, the bass versions are just bigger versions of every instrument that is. This proves that the bass is the most important and needed instrument in the world, and this used to keep the beat of every single genre in the music. And just to finish, you may be saying, if it's so important, why I never heard of it in any song? And I got two answers for that. Number one is maybe because you're listening directly from your phone, from cheap AirPods, from cheap headphones or small speakers, which all of this means you're using a mono speaker that can't stand the low frequencies of the bass, and that's why you don't hear it. The best way to hear perfectly the bass is using a sound system or pro speakers that had the subwoofers and woofers built in to listen better to the bass. And the second answer is, just feel it. That's all. Don't waste your time trying to find the bass in the song. Just feel it. That's the power of the bass, to make you move. Well, that's it for today. But don't get me wrong, I may be a bassist, but I'm also a guitarist and a little bit of a pianist. All the instruments are important. Remember, the bass is great. Actually, it's a bass instrument, but it sounds better when it's accompanied. Just keep importance all the instruments. Remember to subscribe and stay funky, bros.